which is one of my favorite shows, of course, and an incredible entrepreneur, man. Please welcome to the show, Mark Cuban. Mark, welcome.
What up, Mello? Thanks for having me on. I got my glass
Look.
of Pinot Noir. I'm ready.
Absolutely. Um, First of all, Mark, on today's show, we're drinking. What are you drinking today? That's what I want to know.
So I got to tell you, I'm not a wine guy. I'm a beer guy. Maybe some spirits every now and then. And I couldn't find my Mad Dog 2020 or my Boone's Farm, so I had to borrow from my wife her Pinot Noir. I can't even pronounce it right. It's an Italian wine that she's got, and so I'm going to be sipping, and we'll see how it goes. Because when it comes to drinking like beer wine, I'm a lightweight. That stuff, boom.
No, that's all good. I'm over here. I'm drinking a nice Italian Brunello today.
Nice.
Nice 6 o'clock on the East Coast glass of wine. So
Perfect.
That's good. Mark, first of all, let's cheers. We usually do a cheers on the show.
Yes,
we do a virtual cheer. Usually we'd be in person, but we do a cheers. So I just want to say cheers to you and cheers to everything that you accomplished, everything that's going on in this crazy world of ours. So cheers.
Cheers to you.
Now, let's talk about today's selection. We want to discuss what wine you're drinking, where it's from, what that means. So all right, let's get to it. So if you can explain a little bit of what you're drinking today, if you can, based off of what your wife told you, then
what you're about to hear, Mello, is called "Fake It Till You Make It." This is Pinot. It's Italian, 2019. We get it. People send you stuff, right? So we got it as a gift, and I've got like a whole wine cellar full. And my wife every now and then will pull one out and go, "Okay, this is really, really nice. Are you going to have a glass with me?" And I'll say, "No, I'm not going to have a glass. But help yourself, baby." And she was like, "This is good." And so actually, it's nice. It's in my little Shark Tank glass that we use on set, but it's nice. It's smooth, and I don't know what I'm supposed to eat with it, but actually I like it.
You have your lamb. I know you're a lamb. You're a lamb guy?
No, I'm a vegetarian now. I went vegetarian.
Oh, so you're a vegetarian. So excuse me about that.
That's okay.
It goes well with vegetarian dishes as well. A Pinot is very light anyway, so it goes well with all dishes.
Yeah, I mean, I've had Pinot at dinner before because it's kind of like safe, right? You can't go wrong with Pinot. It's just like it's going to go and you're not going to look like an idiot, because that's my biggest fear. Not that I won't like the wine, but someone's going to say, "What the hell are you drinking, eating that stuff?" Right? So it seems to work.
No, Pinot you could drink with whatever. It doesn't matter. Pinot, you're safe. That's a safe bet.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what
that's a safe bet. Let's jump to one of the topics though. Let's jump to something that's coming up soon, the Olympics.
Yep.
Right? You're obviously a big basketball guy, obviously, and a big sports guy. And I know I love that the Olympics is back. I'm sure you love the Olympics is back. What do you think about the men's basketball team this year?
So obviously we're going to be great, right? And I've always pushed for you. You're the legend of the USA Olympic team, man. So I always was pushing for you to be there. But I mean, the names that are on there, if we don't torch everybody, it's just going to be something wrong, right? I mean, there's just so much talent, and the guys are ready to go. But the problem is man, it's already a compressed season, which was already really tough on you guys, right? Just playing that many games with all the testing protocols and everything. And so to jump, particularly if you're playing in the finals, I don't know, if CP3 could even think about playing, and then go into the Olympics. But, it's going to be tough because you're going to go right from the season to the Olympics and then right back into another season. And so, I can give you an argument that as much as I love watching the Olympics and rooting for our guys, what your body would feel like, right? Coming out of the other side of that, going into an 82 game series.
That's the only kind of thing about that, right? And being that it's this year and it was pushed forward to this year, pushed back to this year.
Yep.
It's the simple fact of timing, right? It's the schedule, our schedule. I mean, we've been playing from the bubble straight to the shortened season, but it was longer on the back end of the season. And then you go into Olympics, and then you come out of Olympics, and then you got to go right into another regular season, right? An 82 game season. So, but think about some of the European players, right? You have someone like Luca that's on your team, but they got to play differently. They got to qualify. They got to play in the Euro games over there. So it's even more taxing for those guys.
And I'm gonna give you my hot take on the whole thing, right? Here's what I told Adam. I think we should start our own World Cup. You
Oh,
know
I
how
like that.
you know how in soccer, right? They send 21 and under to the Olympics, and then they have their own World Cup, and all the teams get paid, all the players get paid, right? And so I've been arguing for this for 20 years that look, we're sending our best stars to the Olympics, and guys don't get hurt a lot, but they do get worn down, particularly this year, right? And all it does is make the International Olympic Committee billions of dollars. That money should be going to you and us, right? I mean, literally, if we did our own World Cup, could we get $1 billion in revenue, split 51% players, 49% teams? Yeah, I think we could, particularly after a few years. And so that's what I've always been arguing for. And then David Stern and now Adam would say, oh, no, we can't do that. Hey, here's to getting paid. I think we got to
Listen,
work a whole different angle.
sometimes ideas like that come to fruition when people just decide to do it,
Yep.
right? When you just go and do it and then you answer the questions later, that's when I find myself being a little bit more productive than waiting to see what happens. Right.
In a regular business, yeah, but you know what happens when I just go do something in the NBA?
Absolutely,
Why?
absolutely.
Money.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on actually holding the games while we're still, technically in this pandemic?
You know, the NBA has done a great job of keeping players protected, and so has the union. As a matter of fact, they've worked together to make sure that I mean they're wearing masks even now, even when most people are vaccinated, and so they've been really strict about it. It wasn't easy, I mean, oh my goodness, having to get up no matter where you are, no matter what time you came in and test more than once a day sometimes. But I think the NBA is going to make sure they keep everybody safe, and they have to. And now with the new variants, hopefully all the guys have been vaccinated, but I think they're going to have to stick to the protocols just to keep people safe.
What is your speaking on Olympics? What is your favorite moment of the Olympics? You don't have to say me because I'm on here with you, but what is your what's your favorite?
I'm always it's kind of like so in 1992, right? I
Okay.
just sold my company and I was in my 20s and just sold my company and I bought a lifetime pass in American Airlines. And one of my buddies, Mark Stahl, says to me, "Let's go to the Olympics in Barcelona." And I'm like, let's go, right? So get on a plane, go to Barcelona, walk up to the arena, buy 2 tickets, get into the seats. Police come over, escort us off. We had bought counterfeit tickets, right? But then they were really nice and put us in the press box, and I got to watch the Dream Team whoop up on Lithuania. So that was my best
That was
Olympic moment.
that was 92. So that leads right there to my next question, my next category. That was a real strategic business move right there that you did in 92. So we fast forward that to now, and here you have Shark Tank, right? So
Yep.
so as someone who has a stake in tons of businesses, like we all know how time can be very limited. Can you speak just to the value of time in your strategy that
Sure.
ensures you spend time taking care of each and everything that you have to do?
Well, as you know, right, because you invest a lot now too, right? You got to have the right team.
Right.
And what I try to do is hire people who are nothing like me that have a skill set that's completely different than mine. Um, and so I'm like a ready, fire, aim guy. That's the type of entrepreneur I am. So I need really anal perfectionists all around me to keep me within the baselines. And so that's the type of group I have. And so, I've done more than 80 deals on Shark Tank, and I've got a group of 9, 10 people now that kind of keep everything rolling, but I still have to communicate with all the entrepreneurs I invest in because I don't want to be that entrepreneur, that investor that doesn't talk to them. So the way I work, Mello, is I'm not big on meetings or calls. So I have them send me weekly or biweekly email reports and always bad news first. Because what I tell them is I invested in you because I expect there to be good news, right? I expect all this to work. That's why I invested. But if you have a challenge and an issue, I want to know about it when it happens so I can help you right off the bat. And so that's kind of my style. Most of the companies are tech companies, but I've got a lot of, since I've become a vegetarian, I've invested in more health foods. And so I've become kind of more versed on all that stuff and pushing that side of things. But it's worked out. I mean, in terms of the businesses, probably 25% have done really, really well. And I've had one where I made, tens of millions of dollars on it. And then about 25% were just ugly. And then the rest are in between, getting done.
So after that, right? You and debuting in 2020, if I can recall, like I can say I'm excited to see kind of champion black businesses, right? Like
Yeah, for sure.
you created that, and it's back, and Shark Tank is actually involved in that as well,
Yep.
correct? So for those who don't know, the Champion Black Businesses Initiative works to elevate Black-owned businesses and their stories in partnership with the NBA and ESPN.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so Mark, how are you approaching your role as a mentor of these businesses?
It's great, right? Because it's a cookie company here in Dallas, and I can't give you all the details till it airs. But
Absolutely.
they came on, and I did it last year as well. Last year was more difficult because it was a black women's hair products company. I didn't have a whole lot of value I could have, so I was really pushing it, right? Fortunately, the entrepreneur that was running it was awesome, and it's the same with the two entrepreneurs. It's a husband and wife team that are running this company. My job is just to take all my years of experience and just give them that knowledge. Because every entrepreneur, there's a commonality, as you know, right? With every entrepreneur, there's always that same anxiety. There's always the same frustrations. There are always the same challenges in hiring and managing people and trying to find a path to growth. There's always challenges in trying to figure out how you're going to sell, whether it's a product, service, or ads, whatever it is. And because I've been through it so often, that's what I've done. So I just grilled them with questions. I went all Shark Tank on them, just hit them up with questions, and responding to their answers. And they're really good. And it's interesting as an investor. I try to go where people don't look because that's where you find the best deals. And when you go into communities of color, there's not a lot of investment now. And so, to me, there's just so many great opportunities. If you go to markcuban.com, you can see all the investments I've done in women-owned business, people of color, you name it, because there's just so many opportunities and nobody else is looking there.
What you said you asked tons of questions, right?
Yeah.
And as an investor now, I understand the questions that you're asking as well. And I understand the answers that I will be looking for, or the type of tone that you answer the question with. What was the one question that you asked that got you to say, okay, I'm gonna do this?
Well, the first thing I look for is something that makes me say, "Oh, wow!" Right? This has got something that makes it really different. So, like on Shark Tank, I invested in a company, Everything Legendary. It's a vegan hamburger, right? It's non-meat meat, kind of competes with Beyond Meat. And there's these three entrepreneurs that are just incredible. This guy, Dwayne Misko, you can go to Everything Legendary on Instagram, and the way they market, they don't just walk in and say, "Hey, this is how my product's better. This is why you should buy it." They walk in and put on a show. I mean, they go in and they do, how you walk into a grocery store and there's people giving samples out and everything.
Yeah.
It's a show. And so when you buy and eat this burger, you're part of the show. And their sales have just boomed because they understand their market. They understand that people want healthy, but they also want to trust and connect and enjoy the companies that they buy from. And so when I see an entrepreneur that understands how to sell their product, understands what business they're truly in. Like when you're in the cookie business, you're not really about selling cookies. You're about putting smiles on faces, right?
Right.
You're
Making people
about
happy.
making people happy, making the kids happy, making yourself happy. Have a bad day, eat a cookie, right? Have a bad day, eat an Everything Legendary burger. I've got another one of my entrepreneurs, Noel Doherty, and he's got twisted up combs, right? And so I didn't know a whole lot about naturals, African American hair naturals, right? But I learned all about sponges, and he's got this thing that looks like a tennis racket. And when you go in and you're on the barber chair or yourself and you want to twist it up, so he called it Twisted Up. And he is killing it. He's paid me back my money. I don't even know how many times over. Now he's invested in other businesses and paying it forward. And it looks like a little tennis racket. And I didn't understand the business or the product, but I knew he was a great entrepreneur because he was a grinder. He loved his product. He understood that selling isn't about convincing people, it's about helping people. And he knew his product made life easier versus the sponges that people had to use. And so he was able to convey that to me. And so those are the types of things I look for. Do you love it? Are you a learner? Can you sell? Can you help people? And are you having fun doing it? And when that happens, that's when the magic happens.
Absolutely. You invest in the people, right?
Yep.
You invest in the
Let's
people.
drink to my Shark Tank
Let's drink the
entrepreneurs.
Shark Tank entrepreneurs 101 right here for sure. What's in Your Glass is brought to you by our friends at Wine Access, and I'm so excited to tell you about them. Wine Access is a premier destination for discovering expertly curated wines at every price point sourced by the world's most renowned winemakers. With an impressive online shop, quarterly wine subscriptions, and a variety of educational content, Wine Access make it easy for everyone, from wine novices to enthusiasts, to expand their palates through access and education. Through the connections of their highly credentialed team of wine experts, Wine Access unlocks access to the world's most rare and often unattainable wines and delivers them straight to your door. Each temperature-controlled delivery comes with educational materials that share the story behind each bottle along with the perfect food pairings, perfect for sharing with your friends while enjoying a glass. What's in Your Glass listeners can enjoy 20% off your first purchase at wineaccess.com/glass. That's wineaccess.com/glass. That's wine, ACCESS.com/glass. Jumping off your role as a mentor, for this initiative, which is incredible. Can you speak to the larger role of, I would say, like the NBA in society and just social justice in
Yeah.
particular? Because you've spoken out, you've been heavily involved in certain initiatives.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what a team is, right? I said it from the first day. I learned it early on when I bought the Mavs. I don't own the Mavs. Mavs fans own the Mavs. I'm just responsible for the Bills. Mello, when a team's on a playoff run or when a team wins a championship, the city's always on fire, right? Everybody's talking, everybody's fired up. And then you win a championship and they throw a parade. There's no other business where they throw a parade other than professional sports because there's such a tight bond between people and their families and their communities and their favorite teams. And that bond has to go both ways. It can't just be adulation from the fan for the players and the team. It's got to be, if you really want to become part of the community, if you really want to connect to your customer base, you've got to go out and be part of the community. You've got to go out and participate in programs. And when they hurt, we hurt. When there's injustices there, there's injustices for us. And it's not always going to be popular. Not all your fans are going to be happy about it. But I truly believe that when you do the right thing, when you're kind and when you help people and really put yourself in a position to take stress away from others and really improve their positioning, then it's the right thing to do and you do it. And I'm really fortunate. My CEO, Cint Marshall, is just a rock star who helps me understand different communities that I'm not part of.
Indeed. What's the ratings, right? Let's talk about NBA for a little bit.
Sure.
Because I'm on this side, but I also understand your side as well.
Right.
What would your response be to those that's blaming ratings on the NBA and their stance to support their players in the social justice?
Look at the rating. Yeah, all I tell them is look at the ratings now. Well, let me take one step back. When you see all that stuff, it's almost always on Twitter, right? Twitter's not real world. The one thing you can't do is get caught up in what people at Twitter are saying because it's so easy to get mad, right? You've been there, right? Someone says something, they're ripping on you, they're tearing, and then everybody dives in and piles on you. And your natural competitive instinct is to get mad. And, what I try to do is just inform with facts because that keeps me from getting mad. And the facts are, last year in the bubble, it was tough, right? We're out of season. All sports were playing at the same time. There weren't fans there. Now our ratings are up. The last ones I saw were up 39% over last year. And we're down a little bit from the year before, but that actually is still good news because the number of people who watch on traditional television has declined, right? So we're getting a higher percentage. And I'll use Shark Tank as an analogy. It used to be that Shark Tank for the coveted 18 to 49 audience. 5 years ago, we pulled what a 2.0. 2% of the people under 18 to 49 were watching Shark Tank. Now we pull a zero point 0.6 to 0.8, and that's considered really good. The NBA, when we were pulling a 2.0 at Shark Tank, was pulling 1.2s and 1.3s because we were on broadcast, they were on cable for most broadcasts. Now the NBA is pulling just what Shark Tank pulls. So we're outperforming what over-the-air broadcast television like Shark Tank and ABC were doing on TNT, on ESPN. And so we're getting better. And I saw something that I tweeted the other day that said that as a percentage of people watching television, because there's fewer people watching television, but as a percentage, the NBA is the highest it's been since 2002 and 2003, that season. And so we're doing well. And then our biggest challenge, and what we talk about in a lot of these committee meetings that I go to, is we are the sport of all sports on Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, number one sport, and it's not even close. 18 to 24, 12 to 24, number one, dominate on social media. 3 times the number of views of the NFL on YouTube or Twitch, etc. And our challenge now is to figure out how to monetize it so we both can make some money off of it. And so that's because that's the hard thing, because kids that are coming up, like your kids, my kids, they're not watching TV the way we did.
Right.
They're on TikTok, they're on YouTube, right? All that, right? And so we've got to figure out a way to make that stronger from a financial perspective, because that's where we're dominating, and we still haven't figured all that out, but we will.
Well, that's also a testament to you guys as as partners of ours as players. The owners and and the commissioner Adam Silver. How we was able to just come together and find
Yeah.
a commonality. Where we can one hand washes the other. We're partners. We're even though we're out there playing, but we still in support of you guys. You guys are in support of us, and I think that's cheers to that. Cheers to
Cheers to
that.
that.
Cheers to
Absolutely.
that. Cheers to that. I think the minute that we came and found that common ground as players and the governors, the game became easier. The business became easier. It started booming, and you see what happens, right? Because there's a support
100%.
system from the players and the governors, slash owners or whatever. So I have to take my hat off to you guys, and as well as the Commissioner Adam Silver for getting us in this position to be able to continue to grow, getting us through the bubble, getting us through this short and lengthy season, and now hopefully we can get back to regular scheduled
Well,
programming.
it goes
So
both ways, Mel, because the thing about the NBA that's different than every other professional sport is our players are the most recognizable of any sport, right? I mean, 1 to 17 now, either it's because kids are playing video games, right? They're playing 2K and they know everybody and how to play them, and then they're gambling, or playing daily fantasy, or they're just seeing the highlights, right? Just dominating, watching highlights, and so we are a player-driven league. And the fact that the players have really been able to establish themselves as brands, like you have, you've been a brand, Seven's been a brand forever, and so that really helps the leagues. You look at football, after the quarterback and maybe one running back or receiver, your favorite team, you couldn't name, by sight, 3 players.
right.
You know, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. After Ben walks in,
Oh,
now
don't talk. Don't you're a
I
Pittsburgh
know it's
fan?
gonna come on. I know you're from Baltimore, right? I almost wear my Steelers shirt.
No hard feelings this conversation. No hard feelings.
But
So
yeah, I mean, but the players drive the train, right? Because and the fact that, and you see how different, right? Look how different players coming into the NBA are today versus 5 years versus your draft class, night and day.
absolutely.
It's just so different. you know, as we were looking for our new coach and GM, we were talking, and it's like players today have so many distractions. When you got in, right, it was you're here to play ball, and your vets were like, that's what it's all about. We're going to break
Right.
you in. Now every kid comes in has been a star their entire life, has been a brand since they've been in 8th grade. You know, it's
That's
just
difficult.
it's different.
So speaking on the Mavs, right? You guys are going through a lot of changes with the hiring of two of my good friends, and one
Yeah.
of I was fortunate enough to play with Jason Kidd. So you hired Jason Kidd, and then the hiring of Nico Harrison as the GM, and more changes, more changes over there. Now that it's the off season, like what are you hoping to accomplish heading into the season?
Get better, right? We
Right.
got a good squad. I think, like you guys went through a coaching change. Terry's a great coach. He was with us, but sometimes you need a different voice, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes things have to change. And so with Jay Kidd and Nico, we know we have a good squad. We just, I just think a different voice sometimes. And Coach was great. Coach Rick was great. I mean, one of the best X
Absolutely.
and O's coach. Yeah. But at the same time, sometimes you just need that different voice. And I think having Jay Kidd come in and give just the benefit of his knowledge, right? A future Hall of Fame point guard in Luka matched up with Jay Kidd. KP, potential future Hall of Famer, just got, the unicorn, just being able to put him in a better position to succeed. Because I think KP got a bad rap this year. I mean, the guy comes out 20-9. You know how hard that
I
is,
know.
right?
Listen, I know how it works, Mark. I know how it works.
Yeah, you do, right? 29, right? And then he does exactly what we ask him to do on the court in the playoffs, does his role just like we asked, and and is getting beat up over it. And so Jay Kidd, I think, understands that well because he's been on both sides of it. And so you have him helping Luka, you have him helping, put all the right offense in place because he's an offensive genius. And I think we'll be in a good spot.
I like that. I mean, I have to congratulate you on picking those two guys, on hiring those two guys. Again, I had the privilege of playing alongside Jason Kidd with the Knicks and in the Olympics. So
Yep.
he's a mentor of mine. And then just Nico, just knowing him for 10, 15 plus years, and just knowing how much he worked, he worked his ass off to get where he's at, to get that high up in Nike, and then now to
Running it. He was running the
running.
sports.
Yeah. Let me fix that. He was running Nike. He was
Running it,
running Nike. Shout
right?
out to Nico for running Nike.
Shout out to right, to Nico and Jay Kidd.
Nico and Jay Kidd. Absolutely.
This episode of What's in Your Glass is brought to you by our friends at Freshly. Dinner time can be chaotic, but with Freshly, it's easy. Their chefs take care of your meals a few nights a week and take the pressure off you. Freshly offers chef-made, nutrient-packed, delicious meals delivered fresh to your door. No cooking required. Grocery shopping and cooking can be a pain, especially right now. And with Freshly, you don't have to. Your meals arrive cooked and fresh every week, so you can keep your fridge stocked and skip the trip to the store. Ordering is easy. Visit freshly.com and choose from over 30 delicious, satisfying, better-for-you meals like steak popcorn, sausage baked penne, or their chicken pesto bowl. Freshly can fit your lifestyle with a variety of plans and meals to pick from that week for your dietary needs, preferences, tastes, and family size. And now, my listeners can try Freshly for just $6.16 per meal. Stop searching the internet for healthy food near me every night and start living life freshly. Your meals are always delivered fresh, never frozen, and are ready to heat and enjoy in just 3 minutes. With new meals added each week, Freshly brings the convenience of chef-made, nutritionist-designed classics right to your kitchen. Right now, Freshly is offering our listeners $40 off your first 2 orders when you go to freshly.com/glass. Stop stressing about dinner. Go to freshly.com/glass for $40 off your first 2 orders. That's freshly.com/glass for $40 off your first 2 orders.
Switching gears a little bit again. Let's talk something that I really love, crypto. Right.
Okay.
I know you have a real passion for it.
Well, I got to get what you're into. What side of crypto are you into?
I'm gonna get to that. Bart. I'm gonna get to that. Can you give me and the listeners just like a brief 101 of what it is, why you believe in it, why you believe that it could be useful? Because a lot of people don't understand the basics of crypto.
Right. So crypto depends on which crypto asset you're talking about is different, right? So Bitcoin is digital gold. That's all you need to know, right? Gold has a little bit of manufacturing usage, but if we all lost our gold jewelry, that's all vanity, right? Nothing's going to change in our life. Bitcoin is just a digital version of that, only because it's controlled in the number that will ever be issued, 21 million, and the fact that it's easier to trade than gold. No one takes actual possession of gold. And you just trade it digitally anyways. And Bitcoin is the exact same thing, only it's more efficient in doing that. And so I'm a much bigger fan, and I think Bitcoin takes market share from gold over the years because as baby boomers die off and Gen Z and millennials, get more assets and invest more, I think you're going to see a transition there. So that's part one. Part two then is like Ethereum, and most everything else is kind of built or compatible with Ethereum. But with Ethereum, what it does is it's a network that creates a platform for something called smart contracts. Smart contracts are a software that run on top of Ethereum that allow you to create different types of businesses. And so smart contracts are used to create NFTs. Smart contracts are used to allow, like one company I invested in, allows you to invest in insurance, all automated. Smart contract allows you to do something called DeFi that's becoming more and more popular, which allows anybody to be a personal banker. And smart contracts allow you to trade cryptocurrencies and crypto assets, without any human intervention. It's something that's called trustless. And so the best way to understand and kind of way that I got it right in my own mind, back in 1990, late 94, early 95, I sat down with a friend of mine. I went to Indiana University and who beat Syracuse just right when I was there.
Yeah, keep smart. Keep smart.
Yeah, keep smart with that shot, exactly. And so he was like, okay, we got to be able to use this new thing called the internet to be able to listen to Indiana basketball. I'm like, okay, I'm a tech geek. Let me figure that out. But back then, when we started the streaming business, you had to have a PC, a dial-up modem. You had to have ISP dial-up provider, all this stuff just to be able to stream audio and then video. It was really, really complicated. Just the way crypto and all these smart contracts seem really, really complicated right now. Now, fast forward 10 years to YouTube, 20 years to Netflix, right? When you turn on Netflix and click on something, you're streaming the same way we did in 1995, but it's all hidden. So with crypto, you're going to see all these applications that are popping up that use crypto as a base because it's more efficient for a lot of different types of companies, particularly financial companies, particularly personal finance companies, to use Ethereum or Ethereum compatible blockchains and level twos, they call them, to do these applications. And so right now it's complicated and people want to talk about the technology, but all that's going to be hidden as you go forward. And so I'm as excited about crypto today as I was about the internet in 1995. But like the internet in 1995, there was a lot of good companies and there was a lot of crazy shit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell one from the other. There was pets.com that disappeared immediately, right? And there was other stuff that nobody even remembers that people were pitching me, and companies that went belly up quickly. And so you're seeing a lot of that now. But as the technology matures, and it will, crypto keeps on improving over time, then you'll see a lot of applications. Now, in terms of what do you buy, I can tell you I own a fair amount of Bitcoin. I own even more Ethereum. I own something called Matic because it's compatible with Ethereum. The way I judge the value of something is for crypto, I look to see how much is it being used and is it generating revenue? Is it generating transaction fees? If it's generating transaction fees, the way crypto typically works is those fees go to token holders in one way or another through staking or liquidity providing. So it's unique. It's like as if a Shark Tank company was doing royalties, and so they just pay you straight through one way or in various manners. And so what I tell people is, other than Ethereum and Bitcoin, look to see if they're actually generating revenue. If they are generating transaction revenue, then it's something really worth looking at. If they're not, you better be really certain that they're going to be able to, because otherwise they can't stay in business. And a lot of these crypto assets will go out of business at some point.
So the word of the day is trustless. That's the word of the day. It's
word of the day.
So I'm big on the NFT market, right? And similarly, I've seen some of your posts on Lazy, like Top Shots, NBA Top Shots, etc. Can you give us a rundown of the NFT market and
Sure.
why it interests you?
Sure. So at the early days of the NFT, so let me take a step back. So I'm a geek, right? So when there's something new technology-wise, I got to dig in and figure it out because I want to see if I can make some money, what I can invest in, and all that. So back in January, I took you may see me when you play in Dallas. I'll go up before a game and just get shots up. It's one of the best parts of owning the Mavs, right? Before the guys come up, I'm up there and it gets wet, so I have to mop some. But I'm up there putting out shots. And so somebody had a picture of me walking into the arena, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this new NFT thing. I've got this picture of this GIF someone sent me, and I'm going to turn it into an NFT, which is a process called minting. And I'm going to put it on a website called, I did my first one on rarible.com. And I created 10 of them. I sold them for the equivalent of $25. And I'm like, no one's going to buy this shit, right? It's just crazy. But as I'm putting it together and you go through and you fill out the forms and upload the file, it had this thing said royalties. I'm like, what? And the cool part is when you sell an NFT and then it gets resold again and again and again, you can set a percentage of that resale value that you get paid. I had no idea that was part of it, so I was happy to learn that. So I put my 10 pictures of me getting ready to get up shot on Rarible, and I sold out, and I tweeted about it, and I sold out in like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. But that wasn't the craziest part. The people who bought them for $25, they kept on selling them and reselling them and reselling them and reselling them, and the price kept on going up to thousands of dollars. And I had all this Ethereum.
You got royalties.
I got all these royalties. I'm like, oh my goodness, here's the royalties on NFTs, right?
cheers, royalties and NFTs. But that's a testament to you as well, because you are a textbook definition for what so many people think of when we think of successful entrepreneurs. It's having an eye for innovation, like with NFTs, or a drive to constantly grow something that is needed to become successful and stay successful. Is that an ever evolving landscape for you at the intersection of business and media?
You got to, it's like basketball, right? You got to keep on learning. There's always something new. Like I got to work, I didn't come into the NBA knowing analytics, right? I had to learn all that, and it keeps on changing and improving. And all technology is the same way. My dad used to say, you don't live in the world you were born into. There's always something new coming along. And if you're willing to learn and put in the time, and it takes a lot of time, you're always going to have an edge, because most people don't even show up, let alone put in the time to learn. And that's really what I've been able to do best. I love to learn. Like I'll sit and I'll learn how the smart contracts work for NFTs. I'll make sure I do an NFT, right? I'll learn how the market works so that I got it down solid. And that allows me to make investments in marketplaces and other places where I can make some money. So they go hand in hand. But yeah, if you really, crypto in particular, you can just go with what's hot and, just run it out there and see what sticks. But at the same time, if you're willing to put in the time and really learn it, then you're going to get a huge edge and figure out what works. You're still going to make mistakes. I've screwed up many times, man. But with crypto, if you get it right one time, bam,
you're good.
You're good.
You're good. Self-education. That's what it is. Self-education for sure. Are there any other lines of businesses you have or markets that you're particularly excited about right now?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is the things that are going to change our world. Number one, artificial intelligence. That's just a game changer. So like when I look to invest in public companies, like my two big companies are Amazon and Netflix. But the reason I invested them, and the only companies I'll consider, you have to be great at AI. And so when you look at these companies, Amazon, Netflix, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Google, right? What makes them different isn't even how good their product is. They are the best companies in the world at doing AI. And artificial intelligence really has broken companies into two types: AI haves and AI have-nots. And I mean, look at TikTok. What makes TikTok great is the fact that they have some incredible artificial intelligence, and they know how to keep kids connected. Like,
sure.
Yeah. So if you're watching, like on most social media, it's who you follow, right? But if you watch 2 Mellow highlights, you're gonna get Mellow highlights all the time, right?
Absolutely.
And so artificial intelligence is one. Personalized medicine is next. Now, I'm not as up to speed on that because it's just outside my strengths, learning all the science, but I still try to keep up. And personalized medicine, your whole body is just like one big math equation. There's just like trillions and trillions of variables, every little thing that I can't even describe. And slowly but surely, we're figuring out what all those variables are. And as we figure them out, we can come up with ways to solve problems. They used artificial intelligence to help come up with the vaccine so quickly. And so that whole mRNA thing, they're going to someday, who knows when in the future, they'll come up with a cure for cancer using AI as a way to anticipate how cells respond to different stimuli and how to, when cells go crazy, how to stop it. And so artificial intelligence combined with to create personalized medicine is going to be a world changer. And then crypto. I think crypto is going to change how we do business. And the simplest example I can give you is like if you think about textbooks in college classes, right? You try to find like a used, if you're like me, you try to find a used book, you try not to mess it up, and then you got to go through the hassle of sending it to some online used bookstore, right? Or going to the used bookstore. And imagine if they were just NFTs. And so your textbook was an NFT. You used it just like you'd read an Amazon book. And so you read it online, you're done with it, you sell it on an NFT marketplace. You put it on lazy.com, And if you want to check out my NFTs, lazy.com. Oh, got a plug.
Where to plug that?
Always. And Shark Tank Friday nights on ABC.
Absolutely. So look, and of course, that's a great leader because all roads lead back to Shark Tank. So all roads. So first of all, congratulations on winning Best Business Show at the Critics' Choice Awards. I want to get that out of the way. So, but my follow-up question to that would be, what keeps the show fresh after 12 years? After 12 seasons, what keeps it fresh? Like, how have you seen? Like, you've seen the show from here, to go to here to there. Like, how have you seen the show evolve just over time?
Great producers and people who love the show, right? 40, like in normal times, pre-pandemic, 40 to 50,000 people applied to be on the show. It's crazy. People wait in line hours, and they do a tour from city to city to city for people to apply. And even during the pandemic, they did it online, and tens of thousands of people applied. And so the producers go through and they find some funny ones, they find some crazy ones, some decent ones, and some amazing ones. And you got to have a mix because it's got to be television. But just the idea that that you can see a window into an entrepreneur's soul, basically, and their mind, and what it took to go from Baltimore, Maryland, or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Pocatello, Idaho, right? And get on that carpet on Shark Tank and show your business and have a chance to become a multimillionaire if one of us invests. That's crazy. And the reason I do the show is, every day I'm getting emails or people would stop me, and now starting again, and say things like, I watched you as a kid growing up and I started my own business, or my son or daughter. Now I'm feeling old when they're telling me that, but I was 12 and now I'm 22 and I'm starting this company. But also like their kids watch it. And if we can send a message to kids in particular that the American dream is alive and well, may not always be easy, right? May not always be equal opportunity, but if you can get that foot in the door and you have that dream to be an entrepreneur, watch Shark Tank, because we might just be able to give you the inspiration you need. And just being able to do that and sit up there and think about that when they're pitching us, that makes me feel good. And that's really why I'm proud of the show.
It's more to it than just investing.
Because I can make money on other deals. Like me investing in some of these things, they're garbage. Now, I'm not going to throw some of my kids under the bus, right? But
you also put them in the Dallas stadium too, in the arena. So wherever you keep in-house. You keep in-house.
Always. Yeah, but at the same time, some people, like, no matter how hard you try to help them, they can't get out of their own way, right?
That's business. That's how it is, and you know that more than anybody.
Oh my God, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like you walk, what it reminds me of? You walk into a basketball court and there's always 3, 4, 5 guys there who think they should be in the NBA, right? That's how we watch them, right? And they have no idea what it's really like. And then you can walk out there and torch them. Business is the same way, right? You can watch it or watch Shark Tank and think in your mind you know exactly what to do. But until you get in there and execute and play the game and live up to the competition, you're not, you haven't accomplished anything. And so, business is the ultimate sport. And, that's why I like to be part of Shark Tank. That's why I like business. It's so competitive, man. Just,
Indeed.
I used to get Dirk shit all the time. I'd be like, dude, you play 48 minutes in a game, right? You practice a couple hours and you get days off when you're tired. Business is 24/7 by 365, and you don't even know who you're competing against.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big shout out to that too. You don't know who you're competing against, just compete.
And big shout out to the big German.
Big shout out to the big German Dirk for sure. So we're gonna bring it back to the closing, man, but we're gonna also want to bring it back to why we're here. What's in your glass, right? I have a few quick fire questions for you to close out.
Okay, fire away.
Myself and the people have to know what's in your glass on some special occasion. So it doesn't have to be labeled specifically, but what's your go-to when you're on a family vacation? When you're on a family vacation, what's your go-to?
Yeah, champagne still, right? Because it still reminds me. Can you see that guy behind me? Wait, where are we at? Yeah. There we are. That shiny thing.
Absolutely.
That was my big shiny moment with champagne. So
we know the story. We know the story.
So ever since then, I've been a champagne guy.
What about when you're out at a nice restaurant?
My wife, whatever she wants.
That's a great answer. Great answer. You're celebrating a big win, which we just talked about, be that on the court, business, whatever you're celebrating. Is it champagne?
Yeah, champagne, right? Because champagne's safe, right? Everybody can take a sip, right? And everybody, when they see a brand, they like it, whether it's Moet, whatever it is, they like it. Cristal, they're gonna be good.
To each his own.
Exactly.
To each his own. Mark, man, I just want to say thank you so much, man, for joining me for a glass. It was, best of luck with everything you have going on right now, and just thank you to the audience for tuning in this week. Please follow, rate, and review What's in Your Glass on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever you listen to your podcasts on. You can also check out the video release each week on YouTube. So, Mark, I want to give one last virtual cheers.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This is great, man. This is great. I had a great time. Thanks for having me on.